Picture a room full of executives in suits. Big oak table, bad coffee. Someone has just slid a piece of paper across the table. On that paper is a number, $200 million. Not a budget proposal, not a request, a commitment. Already signed, already approved. And every single person in that room, every person who could have said, wait, nodded. What they were funding was a sitcom, not a war epic, not a prestige drama with a movie director attached. A sitcom, half-hour episodes, a studio audience, a character everybody already knew, a character who, and this is important, the two people who created him refused to be involved with. The show ran for 2 seasons. It started with 18.6 million viewers. It ended with 4.1 million. 8 episodes, already filmed, already paid for, never aired on American television. Not one executive was fired. And the star? Years later, he told a journalist the show was doomed from the very first day. He knew it before a single scene was shot. So why did nobody stop it? That's the question. And the answer is messier and sadder than you think. Now you have to understand what television meant in the early 2000s. There was no Netflix, no binge watching. No, I'll catch it later. When a show was on, you were there, in the room, on the couch, phone off the hook. You planned dinner around it. You didn't answer the door between 8 and 8:30 on a Thursday. That hour was yours, and you shared it across millions of living rooms with people you never met but somehow felt you knew. And the show that owned Thursday nights for 10 straight years was Friends. 6 people, 1 apartment in New York they could never have actually afforded. A coffee shop where nobody ever seemed to go to work. And somehow, it was the most comforting thing on television. You didn't just watch these people. You checked in on them. There's a difference. And then there was Joey Tribbiani, the guy who couldn't spell but always said the right thing at exactly the right moment. Who ordered 4 meals at dinner and somehow stayed lovable. Who, in a show full of funny people, had this rare gift. He could make you laugh and make you feel something in the same breath. He was the heart of the show. People don't always say that, but he was. When Friends ended in May 2004, 52.5 million people watched the finale. 52.5 million. On one night. On one channel. That doesn't happen anymore. It may never happen again. And the next morning, NBC had a decision to make. Their crown jewel was gone. A decade of Thursday nights. Over. The question wasn't whether to do something. The question was, who do you follow? Which one of these 6 people carries a show on their own? They went to Jennifer Aniston first. Of course they did. Rachel Green was America's sweetheart. An Aniston spinoff would have been appointment television from day one. She said no. She wanted to make movies. Then they went to Courtney Cox and Matthew Perry together. A Monica and Chandler show. Married life. Raising a baby. That dry, sarcastic energy between them. That could have been wonderful. They both said no. They were done with those characters. 10 years was enough. They kept going down the list, one by one, and each time, no, until they got to Matt LeBlanc. And Matt said yes. Now, here's what nobody says out loud about that. Joey Tribbiani was the 5th or 6th choice for his own spinoff. The character built around warmth and optimism and being everyone's favorite person in the room was the last one anyone actually wanted to follow. That should have told NBC something. It didn't. They announced it in July 2003. NBC President Jeff Zucker stood in front of the Television Critics Association and declared, with full confidence, that Joey had emerged as the character that America roots for and loves. They gave Joey the Thursday 8 p.m. time slot, the exact same slot Friends had occupied for a decade. The sacred ground. The promotional campaign was enormous. Joey's face on billboards, bus shelters, magazine covers. NBC treated this like a coronation. And on September 9th, 2004, people showed up. 18.6 million viewers tuned in for the premiere. That is a genuine hit. By any measure, that is a real number. For one night, it felt like Friends wasn't really gone. Like Joey had just moved to a new apartment, and we were all going to be okay. Then episode 2 aired. The numbers didn't just drop. They fell off a cliff, slowly, steadily, and in a way that felt almost deliberately cruel. Like watching something you loved get smaller in your rearview mirror. What the audience couldn't see from their living rooms was that behind the camera, things had already come apart before the show even aired. The two people who knew Joey Tribbiani better than anyone on earth, the creators of Friends, Marta Kaufman and David Crane, had refused to be involved. They didn't want to make this show. They said so, out loud, to the people making the decisions. NBC made it anyway. Kevin Bright, the one Friends producer who did stay on, tried to fight for the right version of the character. He wanted Joey to be Joey, the optimist, the guy who walked into every room and somehow made it warmer. But the network had a different vision. They wanted struggle, a Joey who failed constantly, who couldn't get a job, couldn't talk to women, couldn't figure out his own life. And Bright said this, and I want you to hear these words exactly as he said them. On Friends, Joey was a womanizer, but we enjoyed his exploits. He was a solid friend, a guy you knew you could count on. Joey was deconstructed to be a guy who couldn't get a job, couldn't ask a girl out. He became a pathetic, mopey character. I felt he was moving in the wrong direction, but I was not heard. He was not heard. Read that again. The man who helped build Joey Tribbiani over 10 seasons, overruled by executives who had never written a joke in their lives. And the audience felt it. They might not have been able to name it, but something was wrong. The laugh track fired at the right moments, and nobody laughed along at home. Because here's the thing about Friends that $200 million couldn't buy back. Joey wasn't funny because of Joey. He was funny because of the way Chandler looked at him. He was sweet because of how Rachel believed in him. He was lovable because 6 specific people, with 10 years of chemistry between them, created a kind of warmth you cannot manufacture with new cast members in a new city. You can recreate the set. You can keep the theme song. You cannot recreate that. Season 1 averaged 10.2 million viewers, down from 18.6 million at the premiere. The slide was undeniable. NBC greenlit Season 2 anyway. More money. A new showrunner. The previous one had quietly left, which is never a good sign. More network notes. More interference. By December 2005, 15 months after the premiere, NBC pulled Joey off Thursdays entirely. The time slot that had been its birthright. Gone. They moved it to Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Against American Idol, the most watched show on television. The thing everyone was talking about at work the next morning. They took a wounded show, bleeding viewers, and put it directly in front of a freight train. The first Tuesday episode drew 4 million viewers. NBC pulled it from the schedule 4 days later. Canceled it officially in May 2006. 8 episodes, already shot, already edited, already paid for, were locked in a vault. Never broadcast in the United States. They didn't even air what they'd already made. That's not a cancellation. That's a burial. Matt LeBlanc made $30 million from this show. $30 million for something he believed was doomed from day one. After it ended, he took a full year off from acting. A year, just to recover from 2 seasons of showing up to something that was slowly failing and knowing it and not being able to stop it. Even for the person who got paid the most, this cost something real. Then there's Jennifer Coolidge. She played Bobby, Joey's Hollywood agent. This loud, chaotic, hilarious character that Coolidge gave everything to. What almost nobody knows is that she didn't come to this show by choice. NBC had been developing an entire sitcom built around Jennifer Coolidge, a starring vehicle, her own show. Then the network pulled the plug before it even aired. And as a consolation prize, that's the actual word used in the press at the time, they offered her a supporting role on Joey. Jennifer Coolidge, one of the great comedic performers of her generation, accepted a consolation prize. And then that show was canceled too. There are writers whose names never made the posters. People who spent 2 years trying to make something work under impossible conditions. Rewriting scripts at midnight, chasing contradictory notes, crafting jokes that didn't land not because the jokes were bad, but because the audience had already quietly stopped trusting the show. And there's Paolo Costanzo, who played the nephew Michael. Andrea Anders, who played Alex. A cast of genuinely talented people who gave 2 years of their professional lives to this project and then watched it disappear. Not with a bang, Not with controversy, but with a quiet, exhausted cancellation and 8 episodes nobody ever saw. Those 8 episodes sat in a vault for 19 years. 19 years. Until 2025, when Warner Brothers quietly released them on the Friends YouTube channel. For free. No announcement. In the middle of a Tuesday. As if even the ending of Joey couldn't get a proper send-off. $200 million. 46 episodes. A 78% collapse in viewership. 8 episodes that vanished for nearly 2 decades. And a star who needed a year of silence just to recover. What NBC was really trying to buy was time. Time before they had to face what every network eventually has to face. That the thing the audience loved is gone, and the gap it leaves cannot be filled by spending more money in the same direction. Friends wasn't a show. It was a specific convergence, 6 specific people, a specific moment in American life, and a specific feeling of sitting down on a Thursday night knowing that for 30 minutes, everything was going to be fine. You don't get a second one of those. You don't buy one. You don't greenlight one. It either happens or it doesn't. And somewhere in that building, in that room with the oak table and the bad coffee, everybody knew that. They signed the check anyway. Because letting go of something you truly loved is the most expensive thing in the world. And the bill always comes due.